Good evening. You're listening live to the Xtreme Movie Show. I'm your host, Rob, broadcasting to you from the Pine Hills Palace, just west of Orlando, Florida, in the Xtreme Studios. I have with me from the great frozen Midwest, one RDV helping me cover Fallout Season 2, Episode 6 tonight. The other player, or as we like to say in the South, if you're hip, playa. You know what I'm saying, playa?
The other player, or the first appearance of a very important character.
C.
Voiced and voiced by the guy. I don't like the guy personally, but he is a good actor.
And that person would be?
Well, it's Rob Perlman.
Who is
the super mutant in this episode.
Is he the same guy? Is he the same guy that got beheaded, but it's also in Cobra?
So Rob Perlman is the guy who played Hellboy.
Okay. So I do not know him.
Enemy at the Gate. Did a lot of stuff. He's also in Pacific Rim.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a very, very popular actor. It's just that of the early 2000s, it's just that, it just hasn't really done much since then. They credit him as being the voice of the super mutant that's in this, the one that because basically this episode is flashback for pretty much the whole entire episode.
Flashback with the occasional current scene thrown in.
Yeah. Yes. You're gonna have Walter Goggins' character, the ghoul, pretty much, Cooper, since he's stuck on that bar from the last scene, impaled. He can't get out, can't reach his medicine, so he's kind of ghouling out, and he's starting to zombify. But he's also remembering what happened in Vegas and when he confronts his wife, and no, they don't ask for a divorce, but he basically says, like, were you always a monster, or is this company make you a monster? And they basically have a sit down talk and stuff, kind of a little fight. But the episode goes over to basically over to Voltec with a Barb, with basically her having sit down, taking through meetings, and then finally, Hank walks in, young Hank, and I always love this because it's like, is this really the MacLachlan with a digital facelift?
Exactly. Oh, it looks so horrible. This is awful. This is worse than the Meg.
Honestly, for me, it looked no worse than Twin Peaks.
You shut your mouth. How dare you defile that?
You can say this is where he peaked. Anyway,
you're not funny. Agent Dale Cooper would smash you right now.
So Hank sits down on one of our meetings and this is with Robert House's, one of his double, and he's like, "I got a new device to show you." He's like, and Hank looks over a little eagerly. He's like, "Ooh, what is that?" Of course, we know what that is. That's the device that he's implanting in people's necks inside the vault in Vegas right now, because that's where Luzzi wakes up in the vault there, and pretty much she's gonna sink him on him, puts a scissor to his neck, and he's like, "Okay, we'll make it." He's like, "You're going to bring me to justice of Vault 33? How about you put the handcuffs on me?" He's like, "Okay." I'm like, "You freaking masochist."
I want to atone for what I did.
Yeah, he did know for you, though. And he's trying to... He's
like bullshit, right?
I love he's playing the head games with her already because...
Exactly. Yeah. Yes.
And this is all leading up to what's going to happen in the vault, because they're going to go and you see people are creating the new devices, all the ones you put in your plan in your neck, can control you. And they all have men there. She's sitting there all synchronized, just doing everything. Eventually come these two guys who basically are from the Legion. And basically Caesar's Legion, if you want to call it, though. If people don't know what that is, we're talking about. And they don't have the device isn't turned on yet. And they're gonna start fighting. And basically her father's like, Hank's like, well, you want to push the button, or do you want to see what's happening? Because he told her, like, violence is pretty much the way of life up there. And he's, talking, it's elitist talk. He says, like,
big red button.
Yeah. So, and she's like, well, no, I'm not, it's brainwashed. I'm not going to control people and stuff. And then these guys start fighting. So at the very last minute, well, things are going to happen. They hit the button. And then they are immediately calm, polite. And he's doing everything he can just to try to convince her, hey, my way is the best way. Get rid of that inhibition to kill and stuff and just do what you're told to do. You're fine. We'll have a happy society. Very, very, very disgusting villain, but cliche,
Yeah, unfortunately.
But it's okay, though. So that's going on with her. Like I said, we had Cooper pretty much was rescued by the Superman comes up and it's you can tell he's a pretty heavy dude with the foot drops. He literally sounds like Robert Pattinson's Batman walking up to you in the dark. I think heavy footsteps, and then he knocks the bar up in half and then pulls him up, and then he puts I think it was uranium into his hole to heal him.
Mm-hmm. Because radiation can cure some of these people, and heal them and stuff like that. Not that that's been made clear, but it has to do with with
ghouls,
part of this episode with cold fusion. All that has to do with nuclear energy, which they tend to ignore in 2 seasons now in the show.
Yeah, but we also have another side quest that's going on right now that no one really cares about in the Mojave Desert. Maximus and Thaddeus they decided to abandon the power armor because Maximus says, "Oh, it's nothing but trouble. They're gonna come looking for us, so I'm just gonna leave it here." Okay, so then
that's a good idea, bro.
Yeah, he's got the cold fusion, the vials with him, and Thaddeus is like, "Dude, we should sell it." He's like, "Sell it?" And he's like, "No," And they keep going, and it's just them just walking around. It's a point where I didn't care.
Nothing happens here.
And all he says, "Oh yeah, I was born in a group of shitty fans, and I've actually seen good people, and then Thaddeus says, well, shit, if you're that lucky, you're the one who survived out of there, then we're screwed because he's a screw up."
Let's talk about Maximus for a minute because I've ignored his punk ass for a while, and I don't care about.
He's boring.
Well, he's got that whiny kind of punchable face. Okay, that's fine, and I get
we can't do this.
But you know what?
It's like watching Eeyore.
Well, it is, but here's the thing with Eeyore. He's an ass, literally, right? He's supposed to be that. Maximus comes across when he's talking. The tone of voice makes you want to kill him. The way he sounds. I mean, he's not nasally, but it's like a perpetual kind of whine.
He comes off.
Shut up.
He comes off as an NPC. He doesn't really have much personality. His 2 emotions are, woe is me, or anger.
Woe is me, crying.
Temper tantrum, or woe is me. And I'm thinking, like, imagine the character we could have got with better writing than this. But instead, they just make his character like that.
I will say this. We're jumping around a little bit with some of the scenes that stick out, but I think the thing of this episode generally is that I've made this comment before, and I don't know if it's the same director, same writers. I think they've bounced around a little bit. This felt like a bit of an episode, but it was all over the place. It really was.
Yeah.
Trying to play catch up with all the hey, we'll just get caught up on this particular scene here by having a flashback.
This is the problem when you have multiple cast members and you're trying to tell multiple stories. You got 3 different characters. Not only that, you're also telling flashbacks, one for each of them.
True.
And I'm like, you got at least 2 flashbacks. You got ones where for Cooper,
mm-hmm.
and then you get the flashbacks for in Cooper's flashbacks. You get to see characters like more about Hank and how Hank became more the villain toward and what caused him to be the villain. And I think what caused him to be the villain was Cooper.
Interesting.
That's what I'm thinking, especially with this episode. Especially when he drugs him and at the end here, and then ends up at the Lucky 38, he basically roofies him, and then he finds his device inside his in his suitcase. He attaches, and Barb walks in, and he looks. He's like, "What the heck is?" And she kind of stares at him, but then she
flipping somebody the Mickey is not just male on female types of shenanigans. It can happen male to male, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. And she goes over, grabs the device, and it retrieves the cold fusion from his neck. A little thing.
That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Stuff is my stuff, no matter if it's 200 years in the future.
my question is that, who was a cold fusion for? Was he transferred for somebody? We don't know. They don't really say.
Well, the one thing they did mention, I think earlier in this episode when House is in there, when they're talking to his wife, where they're mentioning how, you can have this vault or that vault or whatever. And he's like, no, you don't understand with the, the thing with the water, with the subplot here, that was part of the games, right? Or at least the first 1 or 2 failure rates and stuff. And so we're letting it know that there's some built-in things that aren't going to work. And so Waltex now seem like an evil corporation, right? And it's interesting because here you get a sense of, oh my gosh, you're like, why are they doing this now? If they'd only put this in earlier, it might have made sense because cold fusion, if
Mm-hmm.
people don't know what it is, it's like the Garden of Eden if you're religious in terms of like you can have almost anything you want energy wise with almost no cost to it and no catastrophic effects or whatever. That makes the power armor run. That's why they had a small sample in his neck. So this guy was selling the one thing he had, and he wanted room to kind of play around with his own new development, which was cold fusion. And so that's why when we're following them all there, it's all the spy kind of stuff because they're trying to figure out what it is. So, Goggins is all butthurt with his wife calling her a monster and all that. And I just felt like that was he's acting like he's speaking like a female and she's acting like a male. Like they got the roles reversed. That's kind of happens with younger writers today. It seems like they're just whatever. But when he roofies them, I'm like, yeah, that's what we do. We roofie other guys. We bring him in here and well, he can't figure out what's going on. So what does she do? She has to go in there and pull it out. And so that's the real push because he who controls that controls everything because it's basically the key to everything. It's not just, hey, we're going to drop the bombs and we're going to sell it to rich people and include ourselves in it. So you better toe the company line, which is they're trying to make all these people that do bad things like his wife, not responsible for it. And it's just, it's not working in that regard.
So the other thing we go to here too in the flashback is Barb, she's walking through and she goes in an elevator. We run into Siggy Wilzig, Michael Emerson, the actor.
Bug-eyed guy from Lost.
No, not the guy from Lost Boys. Same name though.
Lost.
Yeah. He was known as Hank from
Person
Lost,
of interest.
Right?
Yeah.
Henry or Rodrigo. Person of interest is probably the most. If you know him from one. But anyway, you remember he was working at the Enclave, and he's the one that stole the cold fusion. The one that Maximus is carrying around with him.
Right.
And anyway, so he's in there and he pretty much talks about how that she's a replaceable cog in the company, and he says like to tell her, hey, he says, her and her family will die just like he will die if he doesn't pass Enclave's orders on to the leaders, the Voltec, Big MT, and West Tech, Rope Cop, all stuff, and that they should drop the bombs themselves. And then of course she asked, Cooper then later asked, who threatened her, who controls Voltec. She admits she doesn't know and then tries to talk to Cooper, finding out that finding out who she does know, saying that the deal is going to go anyway, and then she's his wife and he knows her.
It's gonna go on and there's nothing we can do to stop.
Yeah. And he says there's nothing, I don't know you, and before he just basically leaves to do something else, and just so that's going on. They have a little heart, I'm still your wife. I still have a heart. I'm not a horrible person as this show's made me out to be. I'm
really wonderful once you get to know me.
But the super mutant, we don't really get to see him much. I mean, we hear him walking around. We get to see his face, which I put in the thumbnail. It almost looks like Rob Perlman's face.
You know who it sounds like though?
Mr.
It sounds
Krabs.
like we're going back to the late 90s.
Oh,
that one of the first TV shows where you'd hear an Extreme Movie show, Buffy. It sounds like the Master. That's all I kept thinking.
Well, that was Brian Thompson, Master.
Yep. But I'm just saying.
Who also was in this too? Yes. So we're connecting back to Brian Thompson, who was in this. He got killed a couple episodes ago.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
No, but he says he tells Walter Goggins' character tells Google he's healing him the uranium. He says, "Hey, we need to help you. There's a war coming on, and the Enclave needs you." And you're like, "What the fuck?" He said the Enclave made us.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh shit!" So we know more about Cooper. But I think is we don't know how he became a ghoul. Just that he's been wandering for 200 years. The guy says, like, you have 200 years wandering, you've done shit. It's like,
Well, obviously, I think we'll get to see that whether it's this season or next, right?
I think it'll be next season if they remember to mention it. That's the thing. The show has a bad problem of saying things and not explaining them.
Exactly. And one of the things too about the show, I was looking up right before we came online here too, because on my Twitter feed, I saw Walter Goggins was trending, and it turns out he's in the hospital. And do you know why?
Because his back here at his back and carrying the show. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I saw that a while ago.
Well, because I've seen him most recently in the Righteous Gemstones. I've been watching that a little bit, and that's hit and miss, right? but he just seems kind of goofy. But in here, he's bringing it, and I'm liking it, But it's so if you take him out here, the show's already failed. I mean, seriously, it's like we're watching the show despite everything else that's going on.
It is such a weird thing, though, is the fact that for him being a ghoul, his nose must have fell off, but everything else can heal. I don't get that part.
I think honestly, you and I've talked about practical effects. Yeah. I think that's them trying to pop themselves and say, this is how we make everybody know that he's a ghoul, because we'll just remove his nose, right?
They don't. Well, I think they're afraid that this is how they know he's not Deadpool. But
some of their stuff they try to do make like the games, though. I will say that, like you mentioned, the Pip-Boy we haven't seen a lot of here. Yeah. But we get some background shots of some things that really do look like they're from the game, and I don't remember if the ghouls' nose exactly look like that, and that's what they chose to do digital wise. Which it does look good. It does really make me think he's a ghoul. I just have this urge to sneeze every time I see him.
Yeah. Do you think he has to scratch his nose every once in a while with phantom pain? Like, just has to do it.
That's a good call.
I know, yeah.
A little uranium will clear him up.
I mean, a little coke will help him out too. So, so Lisa Joy is the director for this episode. Lisa Joy, for those who don't know, she and her husband co-created Westworld TV series. That was out a while back, about 10 years ago, maybe almost.
Yes. Wow, really? That explains it.
Yeah.
It looks great and nothing feels normal, because who cares about fucking robots or robots? Who really cares about robots? Because we don't. You tried making a show in Westworld where you're like, wow, this season one's pretty good. You got Anthony Hopkins in it. It feels larger than life, looks incredible on TV, wonderful theme, all these interesting things happening, like slapping, a robot slapping a fly and going, oh my God, that's got some big significance in it. And then it's about robots getting into the real world. Nobody gives a shit.
Yeah, the other really part that's going on right now too is we got what's going on inside the Vault 33, and to me that's still one of the weakest things, because I don't really care about them. The one I care more about is, I believe was it Ron? I can't remember what the brother's name is. The one that's out. Norm. I didn't see him in this episode at all, which kind of is I would have got rid of the Maximus part and to put more Norman, because Norm's how we learn more about Vault-Tec and everything else, in the future, our presence. But and a little to Klerzik, I'm gonna butcher your name, bro, or girl, I don't know. Orheim, she says, I really wanted to know if Seth is really a Canadian surgeon. I hope so. So hope that would mean that she'd definitely not be an Enclave ally. She's definitely a wild card, long game Vault saboteur. I don't know what's going on with her. I just know that they revealed that she's apparently Canadian, and if that's even true, I know. But she was trying to hide that, though.
Well, because as we all know, Canadians are very polite, and we love them here in America.
My question is, well, I'm agreeing pretty much. She probably was. She had to have been working for Hank. That's what I'm wondering, because Hank was in charge of the vault.
Here's what's going to happen, I think. You were talking about the side stuff happening in the vaults, even though that's kind of almost portrayed kind of goofy the way it's always been done. This element of sabotage that is going on, we're going to see how it predates to back in the Vault-Tec days before the bombs are dropped. And I think this has a direct representation of that too. So what they're trying to do is, instead of just focusing on Goggins and Luzzi and their adventures and a couple of things with characters and all the factions, which I think is its strongest suit when it feels like the video game, they're trying to put in the spy saboteur stuff and all that, which is not working to me. It's interesting because, we do see when people are looking at some of the signs, if you look at the other stuff around it, they have to do with stuff and elements in the game. And it's like, again, she could be a wild card. Saboteur perhaps, but what's the point? Why do it? And if it's such a small character and it doesn't have something significant about it, sometimes as much as I'm a more is more guy, like I've told you before, less is more. The things could be feeling a lot more powerful than 6 episodes in, going, hey, I guess I have to catch that little note by a character I haven't seen in a while or whatever for it to make sense.
So I do like this. So Reg versus Betty, though, that is one thing I can say about this. Reg is in there. He's like, we're going to do inbreeding support group, and we're going to eat all the freaking food and party and have fun. And then it's an exclusive club. Only certain people get in. You saw people waiting in line or getting kicked out, And then of course Betty shows up, and then with her guard and stuff, and it's just like
Not Uhura from Star Trek, ladies and gentlemen, just to clear that up.
Yeah. And Betty's like, just like, what do you mean? We have a sit down talk, and Reg is like, oh, no, fuck this. You're going to try and push me around again? No, we're going to talk in front of everybody, which she's not really comfortable talking about, but she says we're running out of water, and and so this little thing here is going to stop here. And he's like, you can stop our inbreeding group. And everyone's like, the joke is like, oh, yeah, why you can't stop our inbreeding, blah, blah. But he's like, you're not taking away our rations though. And she's like, you don't get extra rations, because she's like, I love it. He's like, this is still America. I still get because who my daddy is, I still get extra rations. You get nepotism, baby. I get it, whatever I want. And I don't know what's gonna happen if she's gonna because I love the fact that Betty has been such a bitch throughout this whole entire series.
Yep.
I love the fact that she is getting some pushback finally on her, this season. And normally it was Norm. You see what I did there? Normally it was Norm, but but Norm's not there anymore. Norm decided to leave because he wanted to play on hard level.
Let me bring up something. Let me comment on something you brought up. I think actually is a fantastic observation. Never thought of it till now.
Yeah,
because this vault stuff is just it's. I'm gonna go make a cup of coffee while this shit's going on. Honestly, I'm being honest.
First some of the episodes it seems like I do.
Right, but here's the thing. We already know that only the richest and best of the best and the politically connected are going into these vaults, right?
Yes.
Allegedly. That's kind of how they're showing it. And so maybe people are forced to do stuff just for survival and all that. I get all that, right?
Yeah.
But at the bottom end of it, one of the beautiful things about Luzzi when we first saw her kind of video game issues is how well educated she is, book smart, but has no real world experience. So she seems like a child growing up in this woman's body in a suit and out there, and that would be a fun adventure. But your point about everybody being a nepo baby is spot on. So my whole point is a writer, if you consider that, what's the reason for us to like them? Is it because, hey, we recognize this one guy because he was in Severance or some other show or this person or that, or because the one girl got the fork in her eye, I remember her. But at the end of the day, why are we interested in these characters, or why are we interested in hating on one of the characters? You mentioned one girl being a bitch all the time, getting her comeuppance. Yeah. Okay, at least there's something there. But all this kind of goofy, cutesy stuff, it's not progressing any.
Well, also they're in Vault 33, and Reg says, "So Betty, go back to Vault 31. You don't tell us what to do over here."
Yeah.
At the end, and then of course in Vault 32, I feel bad for Chet because Chet finds out, "Hey, yeah, you're engaged." Like, the fuck I am. So to Steph. And
where they see the sign.
Yeah, he's like
telling you who you're going to match up with.
Yeah. And Chet's already been forced to take care of her kid. And it's not. Yeah, he's like, I hope Chet stands up and does something. I don't want Chet to die though. We gotta protect Chet at all costs because Chet's actually been a decent character. He's been the one character in this show that's actually been really good. He hasn't harmed anybody. He hasn't done anything
because he's trying to do something.
Yes.
Right or wrong, he's trying to do something.
Yes.
He's not an imbecile just to be an imbecile to show how people are ignorant and things. Because you mentioned many times, this is like the movie Idiocracy. And there's an element of that, right? But at some point, you got to stop, popping yourself for these little yucks and all that. And it's got to be meaningful. Otherwise, why bother having it on there? If it's not progressing something in the story to make us care about it, it's useless.
So here's my prediction. If they're smart at the end of the series or towards the end or next season or whatever, Chet kills Steph. One way or for some reason or another. He's got to man up. I'm tired of him just kind of being like, I'll just yes, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. And just do whatever you say, ma'am. I'm like, Chet's a big dude. He could literally manhandle her.
Yep.
He could fork her other eye.
Fork you.
But yeah, I want more of above Norm and with his crew because last we saw he got choked up by that dude that was a disciple of Bob or whatever his name was. I can't remember what his name was. The guy, the one that was inside the brain jar. Yeah. I think so. In season 1, she gets stabbed in the eye, and so Monica grabs a gun and goes to town like a badass. The other vault dwellers, except for Lucy, were helpless. Eye Patch Girl gives rebel vibe. Yeah. So yeah, like you said, if either she is a spy, and they're trying to make us think that she is, or she's just a girl who randomly decided I had enough of this shit and wants to be popular, and be in charge. I don't know what they're going. Are they going for bad girl vibes, or are they going for like just actual legitimate reason why she's doing this? Does she have ulterior motive? All we know is that Tank had her ID in there in his little vault thing that she wanted to get from Barb, or not Barb, Betty. And the Chet discovered that it's actually it's a Canadian ID. So I don't know. Maybe she was blackmailed into working for Hank. We don't know exactly what she was doing for Hank, but we know that Hank is dirty. He's been that way, especially this episode. We know that he had the cold fusion implanted in his neck, which I still say you should probably not do that. You might get yourself cancer.
Well, here's the thing. We don't 2 seasons in, we know there's vaults all over the United States, right?
Yes.
And of course, if we have, say, Vault 33, that implies that there might be 32 other ones, right? Who knows,
Yep.
right? The numbering system, right? It's not been explained to us, so lets us speculate. That's fine.
Well, how many are so alive?
New Vegas, all these. Yeah, we don't know. So that's fine too. But
they said about 30. What was it? 33% of the chips.
30% of the water filtration chips have. That's their failure rate.
So so I bet you.
So one out of every 3 vaults, water chip is going to fail, and one of them did in here. We're assuming it failed naturally and it wasn't sabotaged, right? But again, 2 seasons in, what is their purpose? You've not set anything up. You might try to tie something again later, but it is the end of the world. Let's not forget it's been, 200 years approximately since the bombs have dropped. Mm-hmm. And yes, they've been in there, and their ideas that they're an arc. They're supposed to rebuild civilization, so you can make jokes about the end-beating programs and who gets together with who and the best of the best and all that Nepo kind of stuff. But it feels like it's the first 5 minutes of them all waking up still, and it's in such stark contrast to how much we've seen Luzzi go through, and of course Goggins' character. And I'm telling you, it's getting to a point where it's like, just don't have anybody except those two, because it doesn't matter with the way you're writing about it right now. You mentioned you'd like to see him step up, right, and be kind of like brave or be a man or whatever like that.
Something.
They need to lean into it, because they're just teasing it for right now. Maybe they'll do it in season 3, but 2 seasons and you've done nothing. That's just spinning your wheels in place.
So I'm looking right now. I need to be this writer, Dave Hill, for this episode. This is his first episode he's written for Fallout. But he's written for a couple episodes of Wheel of Time. That was a couple years ago. And then he also wrote 14 episodes for Game of Thrones. And also worked on the Telltale game as well. So that's where he's from. So he's Amazon regular, I guess.
Yep.
But if you have a connection of the Canadian who was killed in Fallout ones, turns into being someone she knows or his brother, Seth holding into a defunct ID, it still has resentment.
It's there, but you got to focus more on them. And when you have these big gaps, it makes it harder. And I understand, like you and I've talked about with themes all the time. Right now, everybody writes for the second screen, meaning we're going through it. And so they'll restate stuff. And you said it earlier. They're talking about what's going on rather than showing you, and it doesn't.
I mean, I know. Here's my thing. Just how I blame Josh Whedon for doing the team groups. Whenever you have a show, they have to have a team Arrow or team stuff, or team Buffy stuff.
Make it team based. Yeah.
I feel like everything is pretty much now becoming like team flashback. Everything has to have a flashback. Every single show has to have a flashback, and it's a little jarring, And I could follow it, I sometimes I have to go back and rewatch an episode to figure out where this is going on here. My one buddy, if it's in a movie, he's like, "What the fuck is going on? There's a flashback here." He's like, "Can't we just tell a story without jarring back and forth like a ping pong ball?"
That's my point.
Yeah, and it gets annoying.
You're starting and stopping. And you get blue balls every time that happens, right?
So, and here's one show that does it where I actually don't mind it, and that's called Monarch.
That's a little different because it's parallel storytelling. Here,
yes,
you could argue that it is too, but it's kind of not connected, right? Because you're right about Monarch, right?
Yeah.
Kurt Russell, and then you see him as a younger one that's portrayed by his son Wyatt Russell. They do that well in there too.
Yeah.
And it makes you realize, oh, I'll watch anything with Kurt Russell in
it. Or shit, man, his son could. I want to see him do some more stuff too.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, the big takeaway from this whole entire episode is Rob Perlman has now joined Fallout, and he is a super mutant, and he is freakishly strong. The way he walks around, moves. They only show him the shadow. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the Nemesis from Resident Evil, number 2. I'm like, all it's missing is X gonna get you, because he looks like Mr. X.
When he's dragging him right at night, and he's got the little green lantern, all that. I'm going, man, if anybody's into musicals at all, you got to immediately think of Phantom of the Opera too, when he's in the middle of the big song and all that with her, and he's going over right towards the big encore. And I thought, I kind of geeked out in a way, because I said, just give me something simple and basic, because this looks good, and bringing him in there and hanging him up and what's going on.
So do you think
fun stuff?
So I've never played the games, but I don't know how powerful supermutants are. But do you think a supermutant could take on a Deathclaw?
That's the great question of the day. But let's just say it would be a super battle.
A rap battle.
What do you hear? But again, this is the most interesting thing that happened in this episode. I'm not saying it's good or it's bad.
No.
I enjoyed looking at it. What's the purpose in doing this right now? Well, if you're not going to join us, then I'll have to knock you out and not kill you, because we need you. It's like,
because at the end of the episode, he knocks out Walt Gunn's character, or at least he passes him out, and then he wakes up in this area or barn or whatever, in the junkyard, and then of course, who finds him? The new gay couple, Thaddeus and Maximus. It's kind of like,
with the help of Dogmeat, who took the hat early on and ran off. And they make Dogmeat to seem like a little bitch dog that doesn't want to help, but he used the scent to go follow the other guys, and now they have it. So that's going to force them all to get together.
We forget that Dogmeat's a highly intelligent dog.
Super, super smart, and I think it's supposed to be a shepherd in the game, and I keep saying it's a Belgian.
I just want the
missiles, man.
I just want Dogmeat to basically start talking and be like, in one of these.
So you haven't played the games, right? I'll just say this about the last game.
I've seen parts of it. I've watched Jacksepticeye, YouTube player, play and stuff. So I've recognized the power gloves, and I've seen the death claws, and just so I know how insane tough those characters are without cheat codes.
Yeah. But Dogmeat is like
your best friend
who can follow you around. So Dogmeat, if he's with you, and let's say you defeat a Deathclaw, you gain your experience.
He gets injured all the fucking time, but he doesn't die.
That's the whole point, exactly. But he gets to do certain things like retrieve stuff for you, or like that. It's fun. He seems like an idiot in the show, and I'm like, you've got the most intelligent dog, and man, always will have a dog in the future, no matter what, right? You can't take that away, and it's just kind of there for shits and giggles, and there's not much of either. And it's like, well, wait a minute, half the time they're walking, you don't see Dogmeat. Half the time you see him, he's like, I need my head, whatever, like that, and he runs off with it. You stupid, dumb fucking dog. No, make the dog be smart early on and playful. So every time he does it, we go, what is he up to? Because he showed us how smart he was early. Again, they've not even used him at all. Yeah, you know what we need in the show? We need a flashback to when Dogmeat was born in the pack that he was in, right? What happened to Dogmeat's brothers and sisters? Are they a part of other factions now too? I mean, I'm just being an ass here, but
we saw Dogmeat was the only one to survive. They killed all the loans.
I don't remember.
In the first season, right. In the first season,
Okay.
And he was kidnapped by the Sigil guy, whatever. Or Joshua from Lost, or was it Henry? I can't remember which one. Yeah,
a bug-eyed guy from Lost. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. Let's see here. It's saying I think the episode 7 trailer and things are going to hell because Betty and Reggie's drama gets mutinous, ruins a wedding, so Steph is fleeing, or her Trinidad was covered by the blown, leaving the vault.
So if that happens, what do you think?
What's going to end up happening? She's going to end up being revealed that she's with Hank, That's all. She's gonna flee to Vegas, maybe.
You know,
And then her and Henry are an item.
they haven't really done a lot in Vegas, and you expect Vegas being the Playboy capital of the world that they do a bit more rather than just have a few shops after sidestepping some death claws. I'm just saying, it is
death
Vegas.
claws who are contained by a chain link fence.
Oh, there's 4 of them. Dog meat, you stupid dog. What are you doing? I'm getting the hell out of here. That's a dog meat.
You know what? When I remind when that episode when the dog meat runs out into the fence. That's Scooby Doo.
It's so Scooby Doo.
That was so Scooby Doo, and he's leaving Shaggy behind. Sorry, Shaggy.
The dog meat would eat Scooby Doo up, and then eat a Scooby snacks.
Like I said, there's some dumb humor, and here's the thing: if you're coming into this show thinking it's gonna be like the games and you're pissed off, I'm gonna mention something here. Halo TV series. If you expect anything to be like the games and that adapted, you're wishful thinking, because they're never going to adapt anything 100% faithfully. Everything is, because as soon as these people, especially Amazon or Netflix, get a hold of something, they change it because they feel like, well, it doesn't work well for TV, so we got to change it. And the problem is they change it to what they want it to be, and it turns out usually to be Yule Bull garbage.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you don't know who Yule Bull is, UWE.
He did a Far Cry movie, and George Bush was in it, I think.
Dude, I watched the Far Cry movie, and I'm gonna say, for how bad it was entertaining. But you look at Alone in the Dark was another bad, entertaining. Christian
like
Slater.
Yeah,
it's Christian Slater, and that's the only Tara Reid, Christian Slater. Mm-hmm. That was the only thing that got going for that movie. But yeah, there's so many movies that are based on video games that are not even close to it. Look at their most recent Resident Evil movie. That was based off the first one, the first game, with the mansion stuff, and it sucked. It was horrible. But like I said, going into this, I know a little bit about the game lore, about, I think it's Vegas and stuff. Mm-hmm. It's either Vegas or it's number 4. Whatever you wake up inside a vault, and you're
all of them. You wake up in a vault.
Well, okay, this one basically you run into the vault in there
Vegas.
with your
Just
wife.
Call it New Vegas,
and you find out if your wife is dead or whatever.
This is the one that the original company was working on. Then I think the big game company Bethesda bought them out as they were done.
Well, Bethesda is not the best,
and nobody likes Bethesda.
No, nobody. They started changing everything, and they said they started implementing stuff that didn't need to be in there.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, what do you love an underground, like, punk band, and then they go, they go corporate, like Green Day.
Yeah, like Metallica.
I still like Metallica more than I like Green Day. They have more respect for Metallica.
But they're no Megadeth, which has always stayed true to their vision, and which is a much better one too. Dave Mustaine.
I gotta say though, from Megadeth, for me, Symphony of the Destruction is the only one song I like by them.
Oh man, yeah, there's a lot. I mean, but it's a catchy one for sure.
Yeah.
Holy Wars is tremendous.
Yeah, but
Wake Up Dead. There's so many. You know what Fallout needs? It needs the Megadeth on the soundtrack. Because I love me some Johnny Mathis and
it needs something.
But you're right. It needs something because you can only put Walter Goggins and Lucy on there so much before you go.
Why did we not end this? We shouldn't end this episode with Kyle MacLachlan, and Lucy and playing Master of Puppets.
If they can do it in Stranger Things, it would be the ultimate 80s song they should do here for a full 3.5-minute shootout.
What's that?
It would be Lover Boy. We need some Lover Boy on here. You do know Lover Boy, right?
You don't
band, Lover Boy, Mike Reno. Turn Me Loose, let's say.
One hit wonder.
Shooting everything. One hit wonder? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Almost Paradise, and #1 hit.
Lover Boy plays
it for the weekend.
Lover Boy plays at Summerfest up here at least they were for the 2000s, and they were on the free stage because no one really wanted to pay money for them. But I said I would prefer to have more like Relax by Red Said, give me the Zoolander, Relax.
Sad.
But like I said, Joe is as far as the show goes, is beautiful looking, but it has its flaws, and that's okay because I don't expect it to be perfect. Goggins and now Ron Perlman's in the show. It's just being fun. I want an evil, more maniacal Kyle MacLachlan. You know, I want him to just kill more people in front of his daughter.
He's not having to work too hard for the main bad guy, is he?
No,
I mean, he's not really getting a lot of screen time. It's like this must be a great 2-week gig for him when they can film their 8-10 episodes or whatever it is. Seriously.
Now, compared to Taylor Sheridan villains, do you think he's better or the same?
Well, if we're talking Tulsa King,
Tulsa King. That's what I mean. Do you think it's better?
A joke. You could put dog meat in Tulsa King, and everybody would be scared, right? Think about it, right? No, I agree with you. The thing is, this show's a frustrating watch for me because I've said it before about Lucy and the character. She 100% looks like the role. The more I stare at her with those weird-looking eyes that are oversized and all that, but it's a very expressive face, and she looks right. They got the suit right. Just make the video game movie where it's like an adventure thing. You rip off The Witcher for all things considered, even though The Witcher ripped off Elric of Benone or whatever how it's pronounced in that way. People do all that stuff, which was a counterculture answer to Lord of the Rings, which is a very Christian theme in general. Seriously speaking, Fallout always did have a sense of humor and tongue-in-cheek. They didn't take themselves too seriously, and the show fails when they try to do all the stuff where they think it's serious stuff with how it got started and all that. We don't need that for this to be successful.
The end credits are always interesting because I like stuff. So they had Johnny Cash song, Luther played the boogie that was playing over a pamphlet called Blaine. So so you think you're having a brain transplant, Well, that's what we saw on Bud Askins' desk,
Right.
Yeah, and also you had Grognard Comics, and there's a poster of a man and his dog. Cooper
Well,
Howard
you should have collectibles, right?
Yeah.
Games. You had them in Fallout. Yeah. Bobbleheads, like you mentioned, that I don't think we've seen yet. Comic books, other things too. I wanted them to go back to the slave labor with the Nuka-Cola cap thing. That was kind of interesting to me on the side tangent. It really was. I was like, man, you could do something with this for a couple episodes.
Yeah.
It'd be better than the Vault stuff for now. Yeah, we'll be doing episode 7 next week here too. It'll be interesting how it goes. I think they've been renewed for a 3rd season, if I recall correctly. Like I said, it's a frustrating watch. There's something here though, RDV. As much as it sounds like we're shitting on them, there definitely is something here. It's just they're doing a very good job of not doing what they can to make it look the best, right? It's a shiny turd right now.
Yeah. Like I said, there's a lot of Easter eggs on here, and I'm not going to go over them because there's way too many. If you want to find out what the Easter eggs are, in case you didn't see them, you can go to Fallout Fandom and look up the TV series, the Fallout fandom.com, whatever. And they do list it by episode at the very end of their list. They tell exactly everything that was in you may have missed. So it's something you can go look and say, go rewatch the episode and kind of they'll try to go look at it in case you missed it. So that's for the diehard for Fallout fans. There are Easter eggs in there. The story may suck for this series, but there's a lot of Easter eggs.
Tuesday night, what do we have coming up, sir?
Tuesday night, we're going to be reviewing the new Netflix movie, The Rip, with Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, the guy from Early Edition. I always forget what his name is. The actor,
Early Edition guy. That's his name.
Chad something. I can't remember what it was.
Well, we need more Chads. And speaking of Chads, I would encourage people to look at the new show that's out there by the American Horror Story guy Ryan Murphy, called Beauty, where Ashton Kutcher plays a pimp, and if you get this STD from a particular person, it makes you a Giga Chad, male or female version of it. The problem is you only have a short shelf life, and then you explode, so it's a global conspiracy, and it's a very big budget-looking thing. It lacks a lot of the campiness that you would see in his regular TV shows. It's a bit darker and a bit more grim, but hey, it's definitely interesting. I'm looking forward to continuing watching that. Perhaps it'll get reviewed here eventually on the Xtreme Movie Show. Anything else there, RDV?
No, not much. That's about it.
Good night now.
See you later, guys. I'll see you on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Good night, everybody. We'll see you then.
Thanks for watching.